Like, again, this goes against the sacred hallows of the gurus. Avoid multiple time frame analysis. It's not helping you at all. It really isn't. Because, again, as we've said, the marketplace is fractal. Pick one pair, pick one time frame, and then just trade.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading, and in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets, but we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Anarchy Trading Podcast. I had a bad trading day the other day, and when I sat back and I looked at why I was journaling my trades, I realized I'd been trying to force my preconceived opinion of what the market was going to do that day onto my trades. I'm sure some of you have experienced this yourself. So price had been trending. I kind of thought it was about time that it started to reverse. And so I kept kind of waiting for a reversal, took a couple bad trades, missed a lot of good ones as price just continued to trend beautifully upwards. So I wanted to talk about that. So how can I avoid that in the future? How can you know if your bias is messing up your trading potential for the day? And instead of letting the market tell you what it wants, trying to force your opinion on it. So I kind of wanted to chat about that today. See if we could kind of come to some, I don't know, solution for me. Jordan, how you doing?
Hey, doing well. Honestly, I'm feeling old. I shaved today and I have a goatee going on, and my kids told me that I look like this 50-year-old guy from this old movie that's from like the 90s or something. And so I'm just feeling really old. It's like my kids were like, "Dad, in the old days." I'm like, "Oh my word." I'm pretty sure I just said this to my parents 10 years ago, and I already have my kids telling me, "Dad, in the old days when you guys didn't have phones." I'm like, "Oh my word." I'm like, "I'm not that old, guys. Like, stop trying to put me in my grave early," but I'm feeling real
Well,
old today.
put it this way. If you were born in the year 2000, you're 24 today,
It's great.
which
Like, so yeah, and I was born a month after the 80s. I'm so mad. I was really I've always wished I was an 80s baby. But indeed I missed it by a month. So I was born in 1990, right at the beginning of the good old 90s. And yeah, my kid's making me feel real old today. But yeah, I mean, this whole bias thing, it's a common thing, and I think this is one of those things. We talk about our intro that we're going to kind of debunk some of the sacred, hallowed sayings of the gurus, and I think this is one of those sayings that all of the gurus parrot, but I think they're wrong, and that is that you've got to always do higher time frame analysis, and you've got to and you always trade in the direction of the trend, and you start with like the monthly or the daily or the weekly or whatever they choose, right? And everyone's telling you always take the highest time frame and then follow the trend. It's your friend. And I got to say, and I think Levi, you agree that honestly that's bullcrap. Like, it really is, especially if you're trading the 1 in 5 minutes, which is what both you and I do.
yeah, I mean, if you're trading the 1 minute, I promise you the 1 week or the 1 day doesn't, it's like it literally nothing to do with what you're doing. So maybe if you're trading 1 hour candles, maybe looking at the daily matters, right? But like if you're taking 1 minute, if you're trading 1 minute candles, um, and this was actually a question that we got. We got an email on this a little while ago. I forget by who. But it was a good question, but essentially asking like how do you tell what matters? Like how like which higher time frame to look at, and if two of them are like disagreeing with each other, which one do you give the most weight to? And I tend to agree that higher time frame analysis stuff tends to be just mostly garbage, and it can actually mess you up. In this case, um, it was, I kind of had this idea based off of kind of what I thought. I just had an idea that the price would go down. And this wasn't based off of higher time frame analysis. It was just based off of my own I just thought it would be heading
Just
downwards,
just
and
pulled it out of your head.
I pulled it out of my butt, and then I was just trading that way the entire day. And I looked back and I was like, what in the world was I just doing? I just wasted so many opportunities there. But I think that the higher time frame stuff, like the high time frame analysis, I think does that to people on kind of just a systematic level. Like it's where you're, they get this higher time frame analysis. They think it's going one way, and then they're watching for that the entire day instead of just letting the market tell them what to do. And that's what I did the other day was I didn't let the market just tell me what it was doing. Like it was still trending upwards, right? Price was still trending upwards. It wasn't looking like it was about to stop. It wasn't showing weakness. And I kept trying to force it to reverse on me because I had this idea. And especially when we really encourage people to trade lower time frames. And one reason is because it's real pure. Like the price action's real pure. You don't have to worry about the daily trend. You don't have to worry about this stuff. It's 1 minute. So our trades last like 5 minutes. So
Yeah,
it
my
doesn't
average
terribly
trade length
matter.
seven. My average trade 7 minutes. That's my average trade
Yes.
length.
So if your average trade length 7 minutes, you don't have to worry about some of these crazy high time frames. You can just kind of let the market and the price action tell you what it's going to do. And that should actually be really encouraging. I think people, when they trade like these really big, like hour-long candles, they start worrying about like real long-term trends. And you don't have to if you trade kind of lower time frame.
Yeah, and let's be honest, long-term trends can be wrecked. Wrecked them. They,
Yeah.
they,
Dang near kill.
they're killed them. It's funny every time. I don't even know what the joke is. And that's just the punchline.
It's
I've
that
forgotten the joke.
that's actually the joke. The joke is that punchline is its own thing. There is no actual joke,
Is it?
weirdly
Is that
enough.
really true?
Yeah,
Is
no.
that true?
There's actually no joke with that. That's its own punchline that it just
Interesting. Dang.
yeah,
Anyways, I digress. But my point
off
is,
topic.
right? Like when you're swing trading, you're trading longer term time frames. Like that's when you're starting to have to worry about these like macroeconomic events, right? Like so this weekend,
Right.
case in point, Iran decides to fire a bunch of missiles off into Israel. They're like, hey guys, surprise attack, 8 hours. We're gonna surprise attack you in 8 hours. 7 hours. Anyways, I digress.
Please
That
shoot them down. Please, please.
please don't let them fall actually into your country and then cause you to retaliate on us at scale. But I digress. This is not a political podcast. But the fact is, like those events affect your
Right.
daily or hourly trading. Guess what? My 7 minute trade, unless I get really unlucky, is not going to be affected by any of that.
How do you avoid kind of getting, because it's easier said than done. It's like easy to go, okay, don't get a bias about where the market's going to go, and let kind of things try to just let the market tell you what it's doing in the moment. Like, is there any advice that we can give people, well, that I can give myself, of how to do that? Like, what's the best way?
Pick
Because
me,
it's
pick
it's
me. I've got one.
yeah,
I've got
go
one.
ahead. Like, how do you avoid getting an idea in your head and then kind of looking for that all day?
Only look at one time frame.
Okay.
Ta-da! Like honestly, like for me, I only look at the 5 minute and 1 minute. Like
That's a spicy take, by the way.
I
Real
don't,
spicy.
I, I don't look at the hourly. I don't look at the daily. I only look at the 5 and the 1. I draw my support and resistance on the 5, and I trade on the 1. That's it. I don't look at anything else. I don't care about anything else. And that, maybe I could be wrong on this, but this is what I do. I look at the 5 and the 1. That's it. I could care less about anything else.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's actually it can give you too much information if you kind of zoom too far out.
Analysis paralysis.
It is analysis paralysis. And this is where like the people who are asking us the question, like, how can you tell? Like, do you look at the 15? Do you look at the 1 hour? Do you look at the day, the week, the month, the year? Oh my gosh. Um, if you do, that's a great point. Like, just get your time frame. If you're doing 1 minute, like, frick, it doesn't matter. The hourly, just you're trying to take a trade the last 5 minutes. So That's interesting. I need to do more of that because I do tend to zoom too far out. And I think this is because this might be because I've taken some, God trades that feel really good. And to do that, you're kind of looking, well, where could this go? Could it keep going all day? And I think greed is what caused me to be looking for, like, price was trending.
Well, I
Like
totally
price
agree.
was
I mean,
trending.
that's what I kind of talked about on the podcast about that one trade, right? That then ruined my trading for months, right? Like, because
Yeah.
it's like you look at the higher time frame, you're like, well, if I take this trade now, price on the daily could drop 6,000 points.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, and that's one reason I wasn't willing to just hop on the trend. Like the price was just going upwards. I trade trends. That's what I do. I'm really good at it. But here I was, waiting for it to turn around because you want to grab the tippy top. And yeah, I think that hurt myself. So that's good advice. I think I need to do better at kind of just zoning in, focusing. Hey, where can I grab? Again, I was talking about how I've been trading 1 to 1, 1 to 1.5. Where can I grab a quick 1 to 1? Right? Is price heading in one direction? Cool. Let me wait for it to pull back and let me grab a quick 1 to 1. I need to be better at doing that. That's definitely something I need. And I think
Yeah,
probably there's a lot of listeners who can relate.
yeah, yeah. So avoid, like, again, this goes against the sacred hallows of the gurus. Avoid multiple time frame analysis. It's not helping you at all. It really isn't. Because again, as we've said, the marketplace is fractal, right? So the 1 hour is going to look completely different than the 4 hour. It's going to look completely different than the 5 minute. So that's why pick a time frame, pick one pair, pick one time frame, and then just trade. Like why I even quit trading DAX. So people who have been listening to this podcast for a while know that I trade DAX and Dow. I quit trading DAX because I found myself basing trades off of one pair based off of what the other pair was doing, because let's be honest, they usually follow each other they're correlated pretty heavily, but it was messing me up. So I just dropped one and now I just trade one time frame, one pair. And yeah, I feel like the better I get at trading, the more and more simple my trading is getting.
I love that. Oh, also, by the way, we are doing a mastermind, a 2 hour long mastermind basics of day trading uh, class on May 30th, Jordan. May 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Trying to kind of, we've had a lot of people ask us kind of a lot of kind of basic questions, and we wanted to kind of try to boil down our podcast into a real tight 2 hours. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a live mastermind. We have the link down below that you can sign up, and it's free and you can join. We want everybody there asking questions and hopefully give you a really good, solid 2 hours of useful content that you can, I don't know, that you can use to push your trading forward.
Yeah, I mean, you might be asking, like, well, who's this? Who's this for? Well, honestly, it's for people who are still trading, not profitable, and they're kind of like they've listened to us a long time, and they want to know, like, how do we trade? Like, now we're not saying that you have to trade like us, but we're going to take you through the basics. We're going to show you how to set up your account from, getting yourself set up from step one, logging into your computer essentially, to actually setting up your account, getting everything set up, and then we'll do some live trading towards the end. So like you're actually going to join in, you're going to see us set everything up, and then you're actually going to see how do we chart, how do we take these trades on the 1 minute. And it's going to be fun. We're going to be, yeah, we're going to be talking back and forth. If you have questions you want to ask, feel free to ask. It's going to be a great time. So make sure you join us on May 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.